Adrián, a young orchestra conductor, is watching a video on his phone, where his girlfriend, Belen, says she can't continue their relationship even though she still loves him. He has been watching it for a long time, unable to understand what went wrong. He decides to go to a bar and drink himself into oblivion. At the bar, a young waitress, Fabiana, serves him and notices his tears. She realizes that Adrián is in pain and worries about him. As he leaves the bar, Adrián bumps into a guy in the parking lot and starts a fight with him. Fabiana sees Adrián lying on the ground and stops him from driving home drunk. She wants to call him a taxi, but Adrián, being emotionally drained, asks her to take him to her home. Fabiana feels sorry for him and agrees to take him home in his car. Even though he is a stranger, he is wealthy and intelligent, and she liked him. Adrián sleeps on the couch. In the morning, he doesn't remember anything from last night and hurries to work. In the evening, he returns to the same bar and apologizes to Fabiana for his rude behavior in the morning. He invites her on a date to his musical hall. They kiss and have sex in his house. Fabiana wakes up early and hears strange noises from the sink while brushing her teeth. Adrián leaves in a big old mansion that he used to share with his ex-girlfriend Belen. It is in a remote area surrounded by nature. After breakfast, Adrián opens the door to two detectives, who inform him that Belen is still missing, and that she never left the country. They also see Fabiana and become suspicious of Adrián, who they think has already replaced his missing ex-girlfriend. During their conversation, it is revealed that the house is rented, and that Adrián moved to Colombia from Spain only 2 months ago. Fabiana is confused by this situation. Adrián tells her he did everything to find Belen, but he thinks she is fine and that she just left him for another man. While taking a bath, Fabiana was frightened by the sudden noises and vibrations of the water, and the thunder, followed by a power outage, only worsened the situation. During her night shift at the bar, Fabiana talks to one of the detectives, who turns out to be her ex-boyfriend. He warns her not to date the suspect, but she says that he is just jealous because she is with a rich guy now. The longer Fabiana stays in the mansion, the more she hears weird noises around. Exploring the house one day, she finds an old key in the drain. Ignoring its odd presence, she decides to keep it as a jewelry. During another storm, Fabiana is terrified by strange distorted sounds that appear right after the blackout. She is startled by the sudden appearance of Adrián's dog Hans, stumbles and hits her head on the piano. Fabiana tells Adrián that she thinks there is a ghost in the mansion, but he assures her that the blackout is caused by the storm and that the noise is coming from the plumbing of the old house. The next day, Adrián receives a call from the prosecutor's office, informing him that the female body was found and it might be Belen. Arrived to the morgue, Adrián tells the detectives that it's not her. When he enters the house, he hears Fabiana saying, "I'm really sorry," while standing in front of the bathroom mirror. As she embraced Adrián, a flicker of intrigue crossed Fabiana's face, as if there was something unspoken. The movie then flashes back to Adrián's and Belen's happy life in Spain, a few months before the current events. While cooking dinner, Adrián tells Belen the exciting news. He has been invited to work in the Bogota Philharmonic. Belen is hesitant at first, but she eventually agrees to join Adrián and support his career. They pack their bags and move to Colombia, ready for a new adventure. After Adrián's first very successful performance, Belen sees him talking to Veronica, an attractive violin player. She feels a pang of jealousy, but she tries to hide it and not spoil the beautiful evening. While Adrián is at work, Emma, an elderly German woman, shows Belen around her mansion and tells her its story. Emma is intelligent and friendly, and she empathizes with Belen, which she finds very similar to herself. Emma soon moves back to Germany and asks Belen to take care of Hans, a smart German shepherd that also reminds her of her late husband. Adrián and Belen start their new life in the mansion, and for a while they seem happy and deeply in love with each other. One day, Belen decides to surprise Adrián at work, and when she and the Philharmonic director enter the room, they see Adrián drinking with Veronica. Belen feels betrayed and quietly warns Adrián that he might end up alone one day. The next morning, she checks Adrián's cell phone and finds out that he and Veronica text each other. He admits that he flirted with her, but assures Belen that there is nothing to worry about. Belen is hurt, but she doesn't say anything. Emma and Belen had arranged to meet at the mansion, where they had a friendly chat. Belen confided in Emma about her insecurities regarding Adrián's love for her. Emma came up with an idea to test his feelings. She showed Belen a secret bunker that her late husband, a former military officer wanted by the law, had built inside the house. The bunker was soundproof and had all the necessary supplies and equipment, including a surveillance system that could spy on some parts of the mansion. Emma handed Belen the key to the bunker and headed back to Germany. Belen, tormented by doubt, decided to play a prank on Adrián. She recorded a video message telling him that she loved him dearly, but she had to end their relationship. She asked him not to be angry or to look for her. She then packed her belongings and hid in the bunker, hoping to see his reaction. Belen watched from the bunker as Adrián entered the room with a bunch of flowers and played the video. She was touched by his initial sadness, but then he became furious. Belen realized that she had gone too far and wanted to stop the prank. She looked for the key to get out of the bunker, but it was nowhere to be found. She panicked and tried to break the glass, scream, or force the lock, but it was useless. Adrián, accompanied by the Philharmonic director, expressed his worries to two detectives who came to investigate. They told him not to worry, that she was probably fine. Belen, trapped in the bunker, stumbled upon an old photo of Emma's husband and his Nazi uniform. It becomes apparent that the room was kept as hidden as possible, as he was likely escaping a death sentence. She also figured out how to use the electric generator and found a stash of rotten canned food that she has no other choice but to eat, along with dirty water. She started digging a hole in the wall, but it seemed like it would take forever for the hole to go through. Adrián keeps watching her goodbye video over and over again. One day, while getting drunk, he decides to move on. Belen hears Adrián's voice through the wall, wishing her all the best. She starts desperately screaming and banging the walls, hoping he would hear her. This is when she discovers that her only way to make any impact on the other side of the house is through the water pipes. Banging them hard makes noise in the bathroom and causes the still water to ripple. But Adrián, being lost in his thoughts, doesn't pay attention to these anomalies. The next evening, Belen's silence was shattered by the sound of the door and the light in the bedroom. She watched in horror as Adrián took off the clothes of another girl he had brought home. She was devastated by her inability to mute the sounds of the bedroom and had to endure their passionate moaning while they had sex. Belen had become a prisoner of her own prank and paid the price by watching Fabiana replace her. She continued to make a hole in the wall, which caused noise and made the water in Fabiana's bath vibrate. But eventually Belen discovered a metal plate in the middle of the wall, preventing her from digging any further. Despite the room being completely isolated from the rest of the mansion, it was still connected by water pipes, allowing Belen to regulate the temperature of the water in the bathroom. However, her voice turned out to be too distorted by the time it reached the other sink, so she could not call for help. After a while, Belen sees Fabiana finding a key, but she has no way to reach out to her. However, Belen's desperation doesn't last too long. One day, Fabiana decides to check if it's only her imagination, or there's really something going on in this house. She lets the water run until the sink is full, and after asking a bunch of questions and receiving signals by rippling the water, Fabiana figures out that Belen is alive and trapped somewhere in the house. Hans, the dog, can hear noises from the bunker and starts barking at the mirror in the bedroom. After asking more questions, Fabiana finally finds a hidden lock to the bunker and realizes that the key she found earlier belongs to that lock. But right before unlocking the door, she starts hesitating and eventually refuses to release Belen. Instead, she moves all their things to another bedroom so that Belen won't see or hear them there. While going back home, Adrián runs into the detective and Fabiana's ex-boyfriend. He says he is not really interested in looking for Belen, but rather threatens Adrián that he'll kill him if something happens to Fabiana. Meanwhile, Fabiana, driven by guilt, is trying to communicate with Belen, using the still water in the same sink she did before. But this time, there's no response. The next morning, the same detective goes to the mansion and shows Fabiana photos of Adrián and Veronica hugging and kissing in public. However, at the same time, Adrián tells Veronica he doesn't want to continue their affair. While Adrián is at work, Fabiana decides to check on Belen, so she opens the door and enters the bunker. She finds Belen lying lifelessly on the bed, but as she gets closer, Belen strikes Fabiana with a sudden blow. She then takes the key, runs out of the room, and blocks the door. Walking through the house, Belen hears the call on the answering machine, informing her that Miss Emma has passed away and her family wants to sell the house, so they ask them to move out as soon as possible. Adrián comes back from work to an empty mansion, finds a key he doesn't recognize, and sees a photo of him and Belen stuck to the mirror in the bedroom. The closing scene shows Belen returning to Spain. She watches the sunset on the beach alone, while Fabiana remains locked up in the bunker.